Today we're talking about fishing with the basic soft plastic baits, the paddletail swimbait and the crayfish, including how to set up and fish each one. These baits can be used to catch almost anything, and they're simple and cheap compared to most other lures. They can also be modified by changing the jig or hook you're using, adding a spinner blade to the jig, or changing your retrieve. Paddletail minnows create a lot of their own action, so you can simply reel these back in and catch fish on them. They do most of the work for you. The water flowing past the bait causes the tail to flip and twist, causing lots of vibration in the water, similar to a minnow's tail kicking side to side. If you aren't catching anything with a paddletail minnow on a simple retrieve, there are 3 reliable techniques you can try to persuade the fish to bite. The first is to twitch the bait during the retrieve. A twitch can cause a predator following your bait to have a reactionary response and pounce on it before it gets away. The second technique is to alternate lifting your rod and lowering it as you reel. This causes the lure to move up in the water column to elicit a reaction bite from a predator, and also has the dying minnow appearance as it sinks back down. It's an effective technique to target aggressive fish and more finicky fish at the same time. The last thing to try is to add a spinner blade to the jig. They're especially helpful in murky water where the extra flash and vibration of a spinner blade helps a fish detect and locate your bait. A plastic crayfish or craw is a classic soft plastic bait. Today's craws can be incredibly realistic, and you should try to replicate the natural movements of a real crayfish when working these baits. Crayfish swim backwards and use several flicks of their tail. Then they'll fall to the bottom to either hide under something or swim backwards again. I like to give a craw lure several quick twitches and then let it sit on the bottom for a few seconds before twitching it again. Soft plastic craws or paddletail swim baits are some of my most reliable lures to catch fish when nothing else seems to work. Let's look at how to rig these baits. With paddletail minnows or crayfish, start by putting the hook into the end of the plastic bait like this. Picture a line going across the bait and across the base of the jig head. This tells you where the hook needs to pop out after you thread your bait on the hook. Now put your finger at this point and start threading the bait onto the hook. When you get to your finger, pop the hook out and push the bait to the top of the hook. You want to get it over the lure keeper that helps hold your bait on. Most of my smaller soft plastics are thrown using 2 spinning combos, this medium light ugly stick carbon with a Daiwa Regal LT size 1000, and this light power St. Croix Premier with a Pfluger Supreme size 25. They're spooled with 6-pound and 10-pound Suffix braided line and have a short leader of monofilament or fluorocarbon line. Braided line is more expensive, but has a much thinner diameter, so you can cast your soft plastics much further. Braided line also transmits vibrations much better than monofilament or fluorocarbon, so you can feel bites better. Check out our video on types of fishing lines for more pros and cons of the various types of lines. The right rod, reel, and line for you will depend somewhat on how large your soft plastics are. A leader of monofilament or fluorocarbon line is good to reduce the visibility of the braided line near your bait. Many soft plastic baits are very realistic, and I like to try to preserve that natural appearance by having a few feet of low visibility line next to the lure. Look at how much less visible the 6-pound leader is here compared to the 6-pound braid. Whatever type of line you choose to use, keep the line tight. If you have slack in your line, you won't be able to feel bites as well. A few of my favorite plastics are the Z-Man Slim Swims, the Z-Man TRD Craws, and the Strike King Rage Swimmer. The Z-Man plastics are awesome, but they react with other plastics, so you have to keep them in their original packaging. If you don't, the bait will deform or melt and can ruin your other plastic baits nearby. At any time of year, you can have good success with soft plastic paddletails or craw baits. Even though fish in the summertime are willing to chase down fast-moving baits, they have a hard time not destroying an arrogant little minnow slowly cruising by. Good luck and thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.